the leash connected to the dog. We afforded this little guy, how much? 10 inches or 24 to 36 inches, yeah. But we need slack. So now Toby says, I think I'm going to check this dog out and make sure I approve of it. So he commits moving towards the dog. Look at the check. It is speedy removal and return of leash slack. So if you don't have slack, you really don't have a check. You don't have a deterrent. You don't have a bite that is worth consideration. So remember again, he commits. Bite. But look how quickly this leash slack goes back together. Watch. Pow! You really can't even see it. Pow! Very fast. It is not a hold. You know what else it is not? It's not a warning. Aha, Toby. He said, yeah, I hear you, but first, I'm going to take her first. Then I'll be back. Think of it really as a mousetrap. How many of you all fooled with mousetraps? Real ones. The little Victor wooden cheat. Yeah. Have you ever had one collapse on your finger yourself? I'll tell you something. There is no physical damage from it. Not even a bruise. But I'm telling you, I consider myself a pretty tough fella. I cannot comfortably stick my finger there and hit that trap without throwing my finger. I cannot. It is the shock and surprise of it. Yeah, and it's also an unpleasant experience, but not damaging. Perfect. Good way to describe what we want from leash and collar pressure. We want surprising, sharp, effective. We want effective meaning it's enough in the way of impact. He said, that rang my bell. What do you need? I need you to leave that dog alone. But this is also the best approach to teaching Toby we're in control. Meaning, when he starts, he first commits to the target. That shock and surprise brings his attention back to us where it belongs. If we wait too long and Toby works himself up into a fall, here's what happens, even with human beings. As the emotional state of the animal rises, so does pain threshold. Now, the simple mousetrap, think, not going to affect him because he's worked up into. So we're trying to catch him up. Want just a little mousetrap and grab his focus and put it right back on us. Very good. And remember too, he can choose open door 1 or open door 2. It's up to him. I don't want you preventing him from getting to door 1. I don't want you distracting him from door 1 with brought hot dogs. So in other words, he's walking out toward the shepherd. Here's a hot dog. Look at the hot dog. Leave door 1 alone. Come on, get some hot dogs. Now, let him experiment the heuristic process. Let him find out for himself. When you open door 1, there's nothing but mousetraps there. He said, I'm better off leaving door 1 closed all the time. You know what that means? You know what that with? Off leash day. You won't need your mousetraps anymore. Because you have allowed him to exhaust that testing process that finally says, I'm tapping out. I'm going to leave the dogs alone. It's not a negative for me. Good. Very nice. And he said, door 2 always has the hot dogs behind it. Door 2 always has the pleasant touch behind it. Door 2 always has the pleasant words behind it. And door 2 in this situation is refraining from contact or commitment to that dog. So when he chooses door 2, now I'm going to let her pass by without incident. I want you to be timely with both kinds of consequence. Timely. If you miss the opportunity when he says, I'm going to leave her alone. For the first time in my life, I'm going to turn my eyes away from that dog. And you don't catch that, notice that, if you don't say good boy, he said, well, hell, there's nothing, no reward here. I might as well go back to the aggression because I need to mention something here. When our corgi is barking and carrying on, when he barks and carries on this dog, because you know what we saw with this guy's posture, like the corgi? I didn't see fear. I didn't see tail tuck and shrinking. Tails up. Moving forward. So when he's doing this, when she's carrying on, he's carrying on, that in itself is satisfying. The bark, the growl, the display is satisfying. not unlike this, you have a partner that has a violent temper. And you say, you're an intelligent human being. Do you not get this temper is destructive to what we value in our relationship? This person with temper says, I get that. And I'm working hard. But once that temperature rises, once I start that display, there's something satisfying in that display of rage or temper. It is truly self-perpetuating. That's why it's so hard to control. Now you're thinking, even in a human being, a thoughtful, rational, evolved being, you reduce that down to the primal, similar reactions of a dog? Man, I think it is nothing short of miraculous, the self-control we can bring about in the dog. Because his aggressive display, even though it doesn't bring about results, is in itself satisfying. We're saying, give that up. He said, for what? You say, well, I was going to praise you, give you a hot dog, and tell your good boy, but I missed that. So now, where's the reward for all this self-control? If there's none, it boils down to this, and we never want to train for this reason alone. It boils down to, he controls himself only to avoid mousetraps. Wow, what a dull way to work. So if you worked not for money at your job, but you worked simply to avoid discomfort. Wow, there's not the enthusiasm at your job. So we need both forms of consequence to be really effective. And, truthfully, almost immediate effect with our dog training skills, our handling skills.